What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, tonight's a great night. I have a real special guest here. It's Doc from American Core. If you don't know what American Core is, that's okay because we're going to find out tonight. And without any further ado, let's bring in Doc. What's going on, Doc? Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, guys. Yeah, I'm Doc. Everybody's been calling me Doc since I guess I deployed to 9/11 when I was 20 years old. Did a lot of combat trauma medicine as an FMF corpsman with the Marines. So that's why my name is officially Doc. So it's actually Steven, but yeah, nobody knows me as that. They always call me Doc.
Yeah, right on, right on. Yeah, I served myself 25 years in the Army, 10 years active
Awesome,
duty,
man.
and 15 years with the Connecticut National Guard. So, hey, thank
Beautiful,
you for
man.
your
Thank you for
service.
service. You as well. Yeah, exactly.
It's a great job. I got to fly around on helicopters. So,
Got you. Yeah, my career ended up lasting about 12 years. So we ended up doing a lot of cool things. I actually joined before 9/11, which is unlike, I guess, a lot of our patriotic friends and brethren that we serve with right before. So I joined in 2000, and then I was in DC when that happened. So we got to float up to the New York harbor and do, I guess, ground zero work and do a lot of support for about a month. And then we did a humanitarian after that, did about 700 surgeries. Most of my time in the Navy side was let's see, like post anesthesia, I guess you would say, and ICU work. So I was a tech then. So, but yeah, did a lot of did a few, and then I joined essentially the Marine side, the Green side, as an FMF corpsman around 2004, and never looked back. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing the Navy side anymore.
yeah, a friend of mine's son who he's a nurse in the Navy,
Hmm.
and he went to college on a naval scholarship, the ROTC program, and when he graduated, he went right to the fleet out in the Pacific, and now he just transferred. He's an O3 now. I forget what that rank is in the
Hmm.
Navy, but he just transitioned to green side, so he's doing a lot of work with the Marine Corps. So
Gotcha.
you know, a lot of love to the Coyle family. His younger brother's a West Point graduate who just got promoted to the rank of captain, which is O3 as well. So I
Hmm.
mean, hey, you know,
Gotcha.
very patriotic family.
It's a lieutenant in the Navy. So you got lieutenant, junior grade, and then lieutenant, and there's ensign, which is the butter bar, I guess everybody calls it. So
Yeah, it, they should come up with one rank cross support for all the branches.
yeah, it's wild actually because the Navy captain is an '06, which is, like it's a full bird as they call it with the full
With
logo
the
and the
Army, yep, or as I
yeah.
call it, the choking chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, yeah, well, I guess we're supposed to be talking about the nonprofit and not our military careers, but I
Well, we're finding we're
started.
learning about you, Doc.
I know, yeah, I was learning my history of all the things. But yeah, I
When did you start
started.
writing?
Oh man, I rode like a Honda 50 when I was like, I don't know how old I was. I used to build go-karts with my dad. My dad had a 49 Panhead and a couple of trikes that we built, or he built. I was like, 7, 6 years old whenever this happened. I was just there like holding the flashlight, I guess you would say. But that kind of struck a nerve when I was like, okay, I can build things. And go-karts was it, because obviously go-karts and ATVs and stuff. I lived way out in southeast Texas, so like that was the playing in the mud and oddly enough, I did like competition coon hunting when I was in high school, and we went to like chicken fights in Louisiana and stuff. It just like I had a really good childhood. I mean, we grew up out in the woods, but it was like we had a lot of pine trees and a lot of cool stuff to play with. So yeah, I started riding then, and I've rode like Odysseys and all those wild ATVs you could build and four-wheel drives. Built a '68 Chevy when I got out of the military, and it was a C10 pickup, short wheelbase. Still have it. It's a beautiful truck. But yeah, just I mean, I was always into bikes, and I didn't even start riding until I left the military. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, right on. So you come from the same part of the country as Chris Kyle.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I never actually met him, so I don't know. I was getting out, and he was super famous at that time, this is 2000, 8, 9. I was in my last deployment, and yeah, I never actually I met a lot of his friends, like I know really good friends. There's a lot of good people around in Austin, and I lived in Austin for like 10 years, and so I knew quite of them. But yes, I never really got to meet him.
Yeah, I was in Iraq in 09, 10. So,
I got you. Yeah, my
you
last
know,
deployment was '08 actually, and I actually got out in 2012. I was medically out, so
yeah, my last deployment was 2016, and they want to send me right out the door again in 17.
mhm.
And I'm like, I can't. I need some stabilization. I deployed 3 times in 6 years. In the past 6 years, I think I lived in my house for two. I need
Yeah.
some home life stabilization. They're like, you can either deploy or retire. I said, all right, I retire.
Yeah, mine was I was planning on getting out and going to school anyway, and I was like, "Oh, I would join the reserves. That way I get my full retirement, my 20 years." And the recruiter for the reserves was like, "Yeah, man, you're an FMF corpsman, seasoned FMF corpsman. You will be leaving in 3 weeks if you sign up for the reserves just to do the paperwork." He's like, "You'll be literally reattached to active duty units." I was like, "Okay, well, I guess I'm not doing that." Which as a corpsman, it was just needed. Like we needed, at the time. It was like, "Yeah,
Yep.
I think I'm done with the deployment." So it was
Yeah, I mean, it takes a toll on you. It really does. Which brings me right into what do you ride?
Man, I have a 2004 Deuce. I've got a 90 Electroglide. I wish I had the 49 Fanhead still. Do not have that anymore. We sold that for a pretty penny a long time ago. I have a 2021 Indian, a fully custom Indian, which is I say it's Indian. It has an FXR fairing on the front of it, so it's probably I think there's one or two in the country. I think Clockworks just did one. But I've had that one since 2020 and built it, and we put a Rockford stereo on it of 800 watts of just awesomeness. I've
Nice.
painted it, and then we've wrapped it, and it's my nonprofit bike. So we ride it all over the country, and everybody sees it, and they're like, "Man, if I rode an Indian, this would be the one," because it's been all over the world.
Yeah, nice, nice, excellent. So, what's what started American Core, and what is
Uh,
American Core? It's a two-part question.
Yeah, so I based it on the camaraderie of the biker community of you take, say, I'm 200 miles away and I got a flat tire. I know someone in the biker community, be like, hey man, I need a ride or I need a pickup. And it's more of like, hey, I'm on my way, or I've got somebody in that area that's on their way. Like it built that, and military is like this as well. So we all, have this, brotherhood and sisterhood in the military, to where if you needed something, if you needed lunch money, like hey man, I need some cash or whatever. Okay, yeah, I got you. Like I know you're going to get paid, but I got you. No worries. So, or even in the field and in Iraq, there's people that saved my life and I've saved their life, and we all know that, and it's like, and it clicks there, and the biker community really goes hand in hand with that, where you take this, I guess, what it started as initially in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, of the biker clubs, and they created brotherhoods. They created the bond that you needed in order to like survive those times and survive this, and just kind of like be like, hey, you got my back, I got your back, and it worked out that way. And that is where I built American Core around. So we do a lot of events of motorcycles. We do a couple of them, I'd say, outside of motorcycles, but anybody that rides and hangs out with me knows I'm a biker dude, and or motorcycle enthusiast, or however you want to call it. So that community is in itself already what the nonprofit exists for. So we
Mhm.
build a small community that not necessarily a club, but it's a bunch of veterans and first responders and people that need to be there, supporters as well. Like we call them legacy members, to where they believe in what I'm doing, and they we meet somebody like, hey man, you know what, I saw what you did and how you talked to that guy and how it clicked, and I want a part of that, and you don't have to be a vet for that. You don't have to be, because honestly, veterans just as well as I do. most of them are shitbags. Where like, yeah, they say, oh, I need a free handout, I need a free trip, or I need a free motorcycle or something like that. And you don't really need that in your life. You just kind of just like you can do give outs all day, but somebody's got to
Mhm.
pay for it at the end of the day. So we
Yep.
do a lot of accountability and community building and social network that others do not do, because it's like there's a lot of companies and nonprofits that just give things away to, I wouldn't say somebody that doesn't deserve it, but like because they absolutely do, but like it's not building anything after the fact. You know what I mean?
Yep. I know exactly what you're saying because I see it all the time with people looking to get something for nothing. And I
Yeah,
give away a lot of
exactly.
stuff. I mean, if you watch any of my lives, I give away a lot of stuff. I get products, little products here and there. And for instance, I got a portable air pump, for
Mhm.
tires, and I
Yeah, yeah.
already have one. But I did the video and I did the review of it, and I demonstrated it working on my wife's Serial One bicycle,
Mhm.
and which satisfied the company. And I said to them, "Hey, look, I already have one, so I'm going to give this one away to one of my subscribers," and they were good with it. So I raffled it off for free, and they didn't ask for the shipping, and I shipped it out right to them,
Mhm.
to the winner.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
know,
love that because if it's something functional and it's useful, yeah, it's a great company and then it has some customer support. Yeah, great. I don't see anything issue with like I 100% am behind Rockford Fosgate, which is a purpose built stereo systems for any bagger or anything else. In CV Twin Visionary, they do a lot of products. We're doing some headlight installs and different things for around the country, which is not my company, but I 100% support what they do because they support me, what I do. So it's easy
absolutely. I mean, I got a lot
to
of
get.
respect for the Twin Visionary. I see them all over the country. Uh, for instance, when I was surprised to see them at TMMR because I knew earlier in the week they were in Myrtle Beach,
Yes, yeah, I was there with them as well. Yeah, we
and
do
you
a
guys
show in
did
Myrtle
some
Beach for the first weekend.
serious traveling to go from Myrtle Beach to uh, Hurricane Mills.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's based. So V Twin Visionary is based in Maryville, which is other side of Nashville, I guess, for TMMR. So it's really
Yep.
coming home. But we always support our friends. I think, in we like so at Suckbank Blower SBB in Myrtle Beach is one of those massive 40,000 square foot bars that has an East Coast rally for 10, 11 days that has the crazy bands and all the food and all the cool stuff and all the biker events and all the shows. So we do the first weekend as a show for V Twin in the parking lot of SBB, and then we come over to Tennessee and do our another show for the next weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've always seen V Twin down in Daytona. I
Hmm.
saw him at Milwaukee for the 120th anniversary. Um, no, I seen him in Myrtle.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I mean you're talking Sturgis. We do 5 shows in Sturgis, 2 in
yeah,
Deadwood, and 2 with Harley, and then we do our own little. And then I think we're going to be right next to Rockford Fosgate actually this year for Sturgis is what the plan is. So we'll see if
well,
that pans out. But it's going to be.
well,
I think it's going to be a beautiful
the
Sturgis.
I'm ripping out the Rockford Fosgate system in my CVO because I don't like it. It's
Yeah.
not clear. It's not clean sound.
Is it the
And
stocks setup for the CVO?
yeah,
Yeah, so it depending, I think there's a built-in amp for that. If it's an 800 watt or 300 watt,
there's two 400-watt amps. There's one under the fairing, and then there's one in the left saddlebag.
because it depends on how it was installed. Because those amps can be amplified and turned down, but they've got to be tuned like where it's exact.
I brought
Because
it
you
in
could,
to have it tuned. I've
yeah,
talked to Rockford Fosgate in Milwaukee.
hmm,
Matter of fact, I blew a speaker on my way back from Gettysburg last year. And so, well, literally, we got home from Gettysburg on Sunday night.
hmm.
That Friday morning, we flew out to Milwaukee for the 120th. So, I mean, not a lot of time to, do anything. So I'm walking around looking to buy a speaker to replace it
Hmm.
when I get home.
Hmm.
And even Rockford Fosgate's like, I can't sell you a speaker that will sound good. You have to buy the one that Harley sells. that goes for that
Oh, I
bike.
see. I see. Yeah. So it's a stock seat. So you'd have to do an aftermarket setup because that's the way. And that's not a Rockford Fosgate issue. I would say that's a Harley issue where they're putting in that style or that fitted speaker that's
Well,
specifically designed for that.
they're Rockford Fosgate by Harley Davidson,
Right. I see what you're saying.
as
Yeah. No,
Rockford Fosgate says. It's not their. It says it's not their uh, system, so their
right.
speakers won't sound good. That's why anything's
I
got to
got you.
sound better than what's in there. You know.
I got you. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
So
100% support them because they've always, and of course, you said you contacted your customer service and they explained it to you. Most of the time, you contact a customer service, you're not even going to get a hold of anybody. But these guys are been good to me throughout and throughout. So, and I
yeah.
actually got a brand new system. It's a 2014 and up raffle that I will be doing. I haven't even posted it yet, but it's like a full 800-watt two front speaker Street Glide Road Glide setup that's going to be up for raffle up, and I should be posting that the next week actually. This would be like a $40 ticket, and then boom, you'll have
You
it in
guys
by
heard it here first.
October. Yeah, it hasn't even posted. So yeah, I think it's retails at like $2,500, and it's a full system. It's going to have the full display and an 800-watt with two speakers, and it's Rockford Fosgate. It's not a let's say an install for CVOs or anything like that.
Right. So I'm going with Sounds Digital. They're out of Florida.
Got you. I got you.
They're
Yeah,
a
no.
great company.
Yeah.
Um, I've done my research on audio, and there's a lot better out there, but and don't get me wrong, sounds is all the money.
Hmm.
If it's a dollar, it's a dollar. You're not getting anything discounted or anything, but for the dollar you get, to me, in my opinion, hearing it and recommending it to other people,
Hmm.
this is to me the best sound system for the money. Yes, there are better sound systems out there for a lot more money,
Yeah.
but less than $4,000 for a four speaker system with an amp, a
Right.
1,000-watt amp, and a DSP, which is a digital signal processor. To me,
Hmm.
that is worth all the money.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I know we do some Arizona Bike Week stuff with Rockford out there too, but there's a lot of companies, like I said, depending on if you have an install guy, and those amps got to be tuned exactly right, and they just turn them up or turn them down. So it's probably you had the amp turned up too much, and it caused the speaker to blow, and it's like, okay, well, you gotta tune it down. As much as it's meant to be a high end stereo on a CVO, it's they put them out, and it's the style of speaker that needs to be just like where it's not as loud as like a performance aftermarket setup for Rockford.
Yep. So if everybody's interested, in the description of this video, I have linked in uh, the Facebook page, their Instagram page, Doc's Instagram page, and their website. So you guys want to make sure you check them out. If somebody wants to make a donation to your cause, to your not for profit, how would they do that?
Well, we're at a lot of shows, so there is the face to face because we can have conversations about what we can and can't do. And there is AmericanCore.org, which is there is a donation button on there. There's a Venmo and PayPal. And then, like I said, we have an address on there that you can send checks to if you need to, or and everything's obviously it's a 50C13, so you have a full tax receipt for any kind of donations for because we are looking for donations because we currently the budget is under what I can provide, and that's I'm retired, so it's like one of those things where we do need some funds to host veterans. Currently, I have two veterans under our belt that are one's a cancer patient, which is a treatable leukemia, and then there is a brain cancer patient that is clean and clear. He's been clean and clear, and he's good to go. But we actually got him a bike through Wheels for Warriors last year, and
Nice.
he got a helmet from Simpson and got a white knuckle knife at the same time, kind of like happenstance of, and that was at Born Free, Texas, which is through Oliver Peck. And man, there's like I said, it's all the biker community coming together and said, hey man, that I know that guy, I want to help that guy, and then he has a brand new bike and a helmet and a brand new $200 knife, and just like he's set up, you know.
Yep. And two-wheel therapy is the best therapy in my opinion.
Oh man, absolutely, I love
You
that.
know, to me, the next best therapy or equivalent therapy is wrenching on bikes.
That's correct. I mean, it really goes in hand because if you've got anything, it's a let's say a 2005 and below, or any kind of bike or a dirt bike or anything, you're going to be wrenching on it regardless of what you do with it, especially if you're like dirt bike and you're tearing it up and putting some chains on it.
Yeah, well, I'm always wrenching on bikes, whether they're mine or somebody else's.
Yeah.
I actually have both lists full right now, uh, working on bikes. One's a no start situation. I just ordered parts for that today. Uh, and another one, I got to do tires, which those are going to be delivered here within the next day. So I'll be doing tires and an oil service and a bunch of little stuff for that. I have a guy coming in tomorrow, changing the clutch cable. So I'm always busy working on bikes and plus doing my own.
Yeah, well, it's a wild thing too is I've done three, I guess they call them mobility scooters, in the last couple years as the nonprofit, just to I guess it's not for me, but it was for another company that we support, and they're like, hey, can you do this, and we'll pay you to do the work. And so we paint it, we do a bunch of tactical cool stuff to it, and we do a lot of embroidery work on it to where it's very personalized to say Purple Heart recipients, and like I think it was Legion of Merit, for a couple of them, and then Navy guys, Army guys, it didn't matter, but it was like very specific to the person and had their name on it, and it was their beautiful, beautiful work that we did.
Oh, right on. That's some good stuff. I love to hear, organizations that actually do what they say they're going to do. I mean, there's some organizations, I'm not going to say their name, they say they're going to do something and they don't have a very high rating as far as a non for profit, because non for
Hmm.
profits you can get rated as a triple A all the way to a C.
Hmm.
And some of the bigger ones, believe it or not, are at a B or an A rating, not even double or triple A. That they get graded by what's the percentage of donations actually go towards, you know, let's say veterans, and then how much do they take for themselves for payroll, and because that's also a thing, and operating expenses, and then also parties, which
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't support that part of it. But yeah, like I was
Yeah.
talking to down in Tennessee, the local veteran charity that I support
Hmm.
and enjoy is Homes for the Brave. They are not federally funded at all, and they work off of donations, and they own 5 houses to house homeless veterans, male and female.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like a cohabit. I mean, I'm definitely not federally funded, and I honestly started this in March of last year, and I know enough people to where I'm in the space to where I am. Like I'm moving. Obviously, hand over fist going and just doing the work. But it's more of a like helping. I mean, I don't need to make money on this. I don't make a dime on this, by the way. I don't pay myself. None of them. I'm retired, medically retired, and I'm good. So I take care of the guy in front of me. So I've always been that person. So like if I've got two people that I've helped, period, in some way, like seriously and helped, and when they come to me and said, hey man, this has been the best event or the best week I've ever had, that's all I need. I don't need
Yep.
anything about it. I need funds to do that, but I don't need money for me. Like I don't. Like, I'm well funded from actually VA, and I take care of my kids, take care of my family. I'm good. Like so. It's really the draw to that, I guess, or the adrenaline rush, and like you get the chills on your arms of helping someone that comes to you and says, "Hey, man, I made some really good connections here at this event," and that's all I needed to know. You know.
Mm-hmm. What the connection we made down in Tennessee. That,
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
it or not,
Absolutely.
that was meeting you and hanging out with the guys from V Twin. That was my highlight of the actual TMMR. Of course, I was down with a whole bunch of other friends that are all over the place, uh, from all over Tweedle and Dallas, who's here in the side chat, his wife and PA biker. I'm sorry, not PA. HDAV bike traveler was there. He's
Mhm.
in the side chat. Keltfire and her husband were there, just to name a few. And that was a highlight of that trip. And, but as far as TMMR goes, meeting you was a highlight. And of course, V Twin Visionary was a highlight. And of course, Indigo Moto, who's a friend of mine, seeing her down there, that was a highlight. But, meeting you, talking to you and your wife, by the way, lovely lady, awesome person. Is she a vet as well?
She is not. She is 100% supporter of vet vets. That's actually how I met her. I was doing some um, anti-suicide hikes with a company called Reverend Warriors, and we met. She was a volunteer, and I was a big supporter of that. Still am a big supporter of that. To where we do like the funny thing of a reverent warrior, as in we hike around the country doing like 90 hikes a year actually. But they're simple, like you're looking at businesses that are in say like Austin, Texas, and we have 8 stops on a Saturday that we hike, and we're all in silkies or ranger panties as they call them. So, and it's only for veterans and specifically, and we have, like that bond and click between the two. So, like, you have those conversations in that group, and I've made, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of friends specifically from that alone. And yeah, that's how we met, and we've been good ever since, honestly, because she's always been like, "Oh, I want to support veterans." Met me there, and she saw what I did, and she actually came to Lone Star Bike Week just to visit. And I had a lot of friends and family, and I know everybody at the rally, so I'm walking around, and she's like, "Wow, you do know like everybody here." I'm like, "Well, yeah, these are that's my family. This is my people."
Yeah. Well, real quick, I want to answer Zen's question. No, I didn't get any speeding tickets while down in Tennessee. Just want to let you know.
Yeah, that
Which
that
was,
helmet law there too. Like they're pretty strict with the county road right where TMMR out exits. So you got to watch those guys. They'll give you a ticket for not wearing a helmet on a dirt bike or any just going to the store.
yep. I wore a helmet the whole time down there. After I built my Softail, uh, I said the minimum PPE on that is a helmet and gloves.
Hmm.
It's a 154 horsepower Softail.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've rode a couple of 130, 140 horsepower bikes, but I'm one wheel. I'm good with that. Like I'm already stupid enough as it is to not ride
yeah,
something like that. You get over a 150, I'm like no, like no good. But speaking of
yeah.
TMMR, I know Harley Davidson and TMMR, they had I think 500 plus tickets for veterans specifically that we used the code for. And so next year, if there's any veterans that want to go to TMMR, depending on if Harley gets those tickets again, they are 100% free. It's camping and everything. You can bring a tent, whatever. I think RV slots are paid, but you getting in and having the 4-day event like we did is if you're a veteran and show ID once you buy those because it's a free, and you show up and you show your ID, they give you your ticket and you're in for the week.
Yep. Well, I was working a different route, which didn't pan out.
Hmm.
I was communicating with the people from TMMR about a
Hmm.
media pass,
Uh-huh.
and that their response was, "Oh, send us your social medias. It'd be great to have you." Blah blah blah. So I
Hmm.
sent them the social medias, and I figured I was all set until I
Hmm.
get there, and they're like, "Yeah, we gave all those out."
I mean, they do give them out, and there's only so many they can give because it's I think I don't know what the policy and process is, but they're yeah, I know them pretty well, but they're depending on who and what and like because there was a lot of people that showed up that they have 2 or 3 million followers or something like that, and they're like, oh, you got to have this pass, and they just they have those already printed up, so there's only so
Yep.
many they can give out.
But if I knew that, I could have gone through the route for a veterans pass, like you said, instead
Hmm.
of spending $135 per person for my wife and I
Yeah.
for a 4-day pass, which I thought was quite extensive as far as the cost goes.
Yeah, a lot of that is the bands and just the like the actual campground because this is not considered like a TMMR is kind of renting the space from Loretta Lynn's and or having that because they do have a budget and they have to meet that. But I know,
Well,
like I
I
said,
mean,
Harley had paid that tab already, so it's just they just were really we advertised it through certain media outlets, and that was the extent of it, unfortunately.
yeah, I mean, to argue that fact that I go to Gettysburg a lot during their rally,
Hmm.
and a 4-day pass for two is $100 total, and
Yeah,
they
but
have
they probably,
fireworks.
I mean, they probably didn't have Whitey Morgan playing on stage on Saturday
No,
night
but they
either,
have
and
people
or
like Saliva, Drowning Pool.
gotcha.
Um, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
You know, so it is what it is, and I didn't have to buy the passes, but I did because I was there. But really, that really turned me off at the cost. I was like, wow.
I got you. Well, I
But
mean, it said it just obviously having the media pass and the plan to have a media pass. Yeah, that's then next year. I think it's just more of like having it pre-designed to where you can get a media pass and do your videos and do all your things because
yeah,
I mean, they want that content. They do.
yeah,
Um, I think it was just dropped. The ball was dropped somewhere along the line because we
yeah.
did have. There was a veterans ride that that we actually hosted. We were honored to last minute step in and say, hey, we need somebody to lead this ride, and I was like, yeah, of course I'll do it. No, like it's easy. So we led the veterans ride as American Corps and did this split little ride, and then went down to the creek and had the pig roast with Danger Dan and all them. Had all the veterans come down and hang out with us.
Oh, cool. I wish I knew that. I would have showed up.
Yeah, no, it was Saturday morning, and we did. I mean, it wasn't going to be about a 3 hour ride, which would have been much beautifuler, prettier, I guess you would say. But there was a lot of rain and hail going on in the area, so we just decided to cut that short. We did about an hour and a half, and it was still pretty. It was awesome. Harley gave me a Pan American to ride, and first time I've ever ridden one that long, but I loved it. Like it was. I mean, that's definitely a dual sport type of bike where, and it had all the power I needed. So we just had a good time.
Yeah. So, people asking questions. I don't know if you heard about the incidents this year. What that happened.
I have no comment on none of that.
Yeah.
That's none of my
So I,
business.
I don't I don't know. Will
Lit
that affect next year at all? Do you think?
I don't think so because like you said, the show must go on. There is that's a third party, not even associated with anybody in there. So that's just one of those things where it's unfortunate, and my heart and soul goes out to those people that are affected by this. And yeah, and that's I have no other comment besides that because it's not like I said, it's none of my business to be discussing
Right.
someone else's business. But that's it's very unfortunate because it is a one of those like, hey, Loretta Lynn's name is on this because I mean she's passed a couple years ago, but the place it happens at is where like, oh, in the news this is what happened at this biker rally, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, well, man, that's horrible. So, but the
Yeah.
parties involved, man, I
It's
mean, it's
unfortunate
very
what
unfortunate.
happened. Very unfortunate what happened. Nobody wants to see anything like that happen anywhere.
I think there's going to be a lot of changes with that little space that have actually the area that happened at. So there'll be some walkways and or some security type stuff. It's, I mean, not that it
Yeah.
was needed, but it's just one of those things where, you know,
Yep. I thought it's kind of funny. They searched the saddlebags of the bikes were running, looking for weapons,
mhm.
and you could walk in there and buy all the knives you want.
Well, I don't think they were looking for weapons. I mean, or live pistols or anything. They were looking for alcohol because they do have there's a you can't bring it onto a private property and or an event to bring alcohol like our big cooler with you in your saddlebag. That's really not like having a pocket knife or a knife or something in your saddlebag. They probably didn't wasn't too concerned with, but like a pistol, great. But yeah, like okay, put it back in your camper. I know you probably have it, but it's private property. It's that's their rules, but they're more looking for alcohol and or just because like I said, the house has got to get paid and or they have
Yeah,
bartenders and all that jazz for that reason. So
absolutely. Well, we got off track. We got off track. So
yeah, no, I understand.
so how
That's
do
what
you
these are for.
yeah, how do you find your veterans that you support, or do they find you?
Most of them have found me. We are honestly booked out for this year all the way through Sturgis. I've got next up is Brainerd, Minnesota. That's June 13th or 14th to the 16th. We'll have a couple shows of V Twin there. That's the Moto America race. We do get tickets for Moto America, which is a Harley Davidson experience where you get to park in the garage with Harley and you have a VIP area to watch the race if you want to. And then
Oh,
in
cool.
between races, there is a track ride parade, say in between the 1000s and super bikes, and they have the Harley versus Indian. They have, let's say, hey, we're going to take these guys out that, paid extra, I guess you would say. It's the Harley Experience paid ticket. But I get tickets for that specifically for the veterans that ride with me to say, hey, like go take a parade lap, and you get to ride the track like full
Oh,
on,
that's cool.
and it's really cool. And it's of course it's paced, but it's a lot of fun to see, especially in Daytona. There's a big bank that you've got to be doing a like 110 to get it even to ride it correctly. So if you're doing 60 and you're at the very bottom of the bank down here and you should be up here, you look up and you're like, oh wow, like I'm definitely, and you're doing 70, 80 miles an hour on it. It feels fun, but you have to be doing 120 to get that because you're like this,
Yeah,
sideways.
that's a
It's
steep bank. You could barely walk up it.
Yeah, no, you're straight up. So yeah, you're doing 110, 120 miles an hour. I mean, of course they're at, I say averaging, their top speeds are 175, I believe, and they're turning all the time. So like there's, the brakes and everything. Those bikes are just absolutely tuned for, just, and I think they're a couple seconds, if not 3 or 4 seconds behind the super bikes, the thousands. So it's
Yeah,
pretty impressive to have a bagger race and having Harley versus Indian racing for Moto America is beautiful.
yeah. I was fortunate enough to salivate over the Wyman Brothers bikes and
Yeah,
and the S&S bikes that were in Milwaukee for the 120th.
yeah.
They're
They're the
king and
nicest
bagger.
guys you've ever met too. I've just talked to
I
them
have
for
not
like,
met the Wymans. I
I
would love to meet them.
yeah. We,
I would give my right arm to meet them. Not
every
literally.
race, they're pretty receptive of it. I mean, unless they're really busy before a race or something, but like they're walking around doing stuff. Like you just say, hey man, talk to you real quick, and they love it. Like they enjoy it because it's like my son actually has both Wyman Brothers posters signed, and he just adores them. He's like, man, I follow them all the time because I met Kyle in Laguna Seca, which we have that one in July. And I walked around him for 20 minutes, and I showed him the V twin space because he's like, is unaware of what's going on outside of race because it's what he does is race. And he's like,
Right.
man, this is really rad. Like, this is a whole nother thing inside what we do, which is a Harley Davidson sponsored tour, and we do a performance Harley Davidson show, you know.
Yep.
And Jeff Holt's like, he's like, hey man, you're my veteran, you're my guy to do all these things and help me out. And I help them out, and we set everything up and do all that, and we invite all the veterans I know to come hang out and just see the show.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. I unfortunately I did not take advantage of that opportunity this year or last year down in Daytona. But when I go again, I will definitely reach out to you and try to take
Yeah, of course.
advantage of that opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
It seems like an awesome
considering,
opportunity.
yeah, they just did. I was not there because my daughter was graduating, but they just did Road America, which is in Wisconsin. Did a race just last weekend, and it rained for the race day, but they'll race in the rain because these guys are professionals, obviously. But it's
Yeah.
just probably 10 miles slower than what you would normally. But
Well,
I know
NASCAR
the
is professional, but they don't race in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if you take it, the Friday was beautiful, and I know they were beating track records. Like, they're like getting better and better and better. Like every time they race, it's like, man, they're getting those bikes are tuned, and it's really cool to see because we get the veterans, we can walk them through the pits and they get to see all what's behind the scenes of what the racing is. And they've got a whole team working on that bike until they step off onto the racetrack. And then that being said, we take those veterans and walk them onto the track and get to see the racers set up and then watch the warm up and then come back and then they set up and then they take off. And we're actually standing on the track watching them.
Oh,
And it's
that's
just, like I said, it's a bonding experience for veterans. They're like, man, I didn't, this is so cool to see. And because most Harley guys aren't into racing like that. And it's just becoming
actually,
a thing.
I am very big into it. Um, like I love watching the Isle Man TT.
Oh yes.
I think those guys are completely insane.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level, man. That's
And
insanity.
I sit there and I eat it up. I mean, because
Yeah.
to be hitting the speeds they do through those towns and villages, Isle of Man, it's just straight up hooligan, and I love it.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely wicked to see it too, because because you see, I mean, I can't even fathom racing because I'm just seeing them guys just like they're riding on one wheel doing 170 miles an hour and hitting corners. And I'm like,
And going
I do
past
it at
people
90 and I'm
standing
freaked
on the
out. But
grass,
yeah,
you
it's
know.
beautiful. Yeah, I've always wanted to race it, but I've never. There's no way I'm not on that level. Never going to be on that level. Don't care to be on that level. But I would love to ride it, just to see. But I know they close the roads at like 30 minutes before the race starts, and then it's like, all right, now you can't be on your roads. So like, boom, it's insanity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to watch that and then to experience that, that's got to be amazing. And to invite the veterans that you do, that is amazing.
Yeah, we do a lot of cool stuff around the country. There is one thing outside of what we do for I was saying with outside of Harley Davidson and motorcycles and things is we do a camp out, or it's actually 3 camp outs a year that we host a couple of families and their kids. Usually someone that's recently deployed, got back from deployment, and or just honestly, I would say some people are really good with their kids and some people aren't. So we have like father daughter, father son kind of combos that we connect. So we'll have
Like a
somebody that's,
reintegration.
yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's like they have a family. They're good, and they're because I don't really bring in people that are like, I'd say bullshitters or shitters or whatever you call them. It's like, I just, if someone has a bad turn in life and they're trying to fix it, I'm there for you, man. But if you're just, you're there to like, you're not taking care of your family, you're not accountable for what you're doing, you're not going to the gym, you're not taking care of your body, you're not like you're unemployed and I need a handout or I need help or whatever. I can help those people, but this is not for them. This is more of like, hey man, this is more congratulations. You're good with your kid and this guy's not so good or this, and you learn things from other families and you learn things from other father son combos that works. Like, cause like I've never was the best. I don't think I've ever claimed to be, but I've always, strived to be, something for them. And like my son thinks I'm a superhero at this point, but,
Rock on. That's
but,
awesome.
but, but again, I'm not the best person for that. And not to even explain it, but I fall off and do the same thing, anxiety, depression, all the things from like, losing, I'd say, the brotherhood of what the Marine Corps was to me and having to rebuild that. And then divorces and how, everybody has their issues. But so I'm not the prime example of that, but I'm good now, but it wasn't so for a very long time. So like
Exactly. I could,
watching that happen in an environment where, we can connect outside of motorcycles. That's nothing to do with,
yeah.
anything.
I
So
don't
you don't
have
have to be a
kids,
rider.
but I could relate to, coming home and having issues and trouble reconnecting and the anxiety, the depression, the high alertness, the short fuse, quick to temper. I can relate
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, Marine Corps trains you to say, hey, man, we're taking this, 6-man team, or we're going to take that building. We don't know who's in there. We're going to take it though. It could be 25 people inside, and we're just going to go in there and do it anyway. And it's
Yep.
an invincibility factor of like, hey, dude, I'm already dead. Like I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then you survive it, and you're like, oh God, what do I do now for the rest of my life? Because
You know,
you fix your head, you fix
I
your
used
brain to
to
like,
I used
where
to
well, I'm
tell
ready.
my new soldiers first when their first time in country and after the first rocket attack because they were maintainers and I was platoon sergeant for maintenance and a flyer. And we get the first rocket attack and you see them, they're big eyes, they're shaking, and I look
Yeah.
at them. I says, "Look, not for nothing. You are ineffective at this point.
Yep.
What I need you to
Absolute facts.
do is accept the fact you're already dead. And this way you can function and do your job."
Yeah. I mean,
It's
well,
kind of
it's just
morbid and
it,
sick, but it worked.
it took I mean, I've done the same thing when I first got into country. I'm like, oh, freaked out with the first issue and the first firefight and all the things that happened to you, and you're like, man, that went by. It was 2.5 hours later, and you're like, oh my God, it felt like 30 seconds. But then you're like, you do your job and you do your thing, and you're like, and then it just got easier, I guess, or like just but yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but after each firefight or getting shot at, um, when it was over, I've never felt so alive.
Oh, absolutely. I still do. I was saying I have so if you've obviously met me in person, I am the happiest person you're ever gonna meet, and even in the worst situation, I'm gonna be, like, funny, I guess you would say, or even, like,
Yep.
morbid about it to where I'm like, I have a dark, dark humor about it, but I am 100% happy to wake up like, man, oh God, another day. I'm doing this, and I've always been that way. And it's some people are like, dude, well, how do you do that? How do you and I go through real deep steeps when I'm like, if I isolate and do things, um, and it's rough. And then whenever I'm on, like when I'm at an event or something, I'm on. Like anybody that needs me, I'm there.
Hmm.
And I've, I mean, people have put me in tears with issues they've had and that stuff, and it's just been. I love that. And again, it's a adrenaline rush and or type of thing, just like racing or anything else that people build on cars or whatever. You get something a completion out of it to where you're helping something or helping somebody
Yeah.
else.
An adrenaline is a very addictive drug,
Yeah, big time. Yeah, I
and
don't I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any kind of like after, whatever you want to call it, do any kind of recreational anything. And I used to drink like a fish. I used to drink and drink and drink, and then I was like, man, this is expensive, and it's not helping me do anything that I want to do. Like it's not,
yep.
and I
And
was like, yeah,
2013, when I came home from Afghanistan, I think I was spending $1,000 a month at the liquor store.
easy. Yeah, I was saying like you're good at it. Like you become it becomes a sport. You're like, oh yeah, I got to drink. Let's go.
30 rack of beer a day with a liter of Jaeger to wash it all down.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah. Like I
daily
said,
thing.
it's definitely a sport in its own self, and you're like, yeah, I need to stop doing that in general. And
Yeah,
then yeah,
and I credit my fatness to that because a lot of drinking and of course a lot of eating,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Sugar,
I
what
stopped
sugar
going
intake?
to the gym.
Yeah, sugar intake, and it definitely got to go to the gym. Like that's one of those things where mental health goes hand in hand with physical health, where you just gotta. Like I haven't been to gym in a week, and I can feel it. I know it. Like oh, I'm just getting that downtrod of like okay, I need to do something, and it's not even going to the gym. It's going for a walk or going for a run or going for something on the bike. I say bike, but like get on watch a cardio cinema or something, do something, go fishing or kayaking or something. To get out and they call it. I guess the new age thing is go touch grass, go feel grass, man. So
Yeah, I mean, now it's if I'm having a bad day, um, I'll just jump on the bike and disappear for hours on end.
yeah,
You
I
know,
mean it's good. I mean the therapy is there, man. Like that's I mean we all do it, and I still do it even if I'm riding. Say if there's a beautiful space I'm in, like Sturgis is a good one, and or in New Mexico or up in the mountains, and you're by yourself riding, and you get the wind and you get the chills, you get all, and you just start. You can do nothing but smile and say, "Yep, man, this is it. This is why I
that's why
do
I'm
this."
looking forward to the Hootenanny. It's
Yeah,
132 miles long, the ride. It's
yeah.
called the Hellbender, and it's over 1,300 turns on
Oh wow.
132 miles.
That's gonna be exciting. It's fun.
Yeah,
We've got
yeah.
we don't have near that in Austin area or in Houston, especially where I'm at now. But there's a couple of roads that are just really fun to ride, and then Tennessee has every road on the planet, and then Sturgis is those big mountain banks, and you're coming up to find a waterfall or find obviously there's Devil's Tower up there. It's gorgeous. And
Needle
we'll
Skyway.
100%. I've got veterans I'm hosting in Sturgis, so I'll have a bunch of guys. So if you see us at V Twin Visionary or walking around downtown with anything with the American Core logo on them, and say hi to them because they're anybody that wears our shirt is going to be a good guy. I mean, I don't really,
Yeah,
like I said, I don't really, anybody that
that's
buys
a
it or
good
and or
segue.
supports is exactly.
So, guys, if you want to support American Core and you can't make a donation, but everybody buys T-shirts. I mean, this is Chopper Magazine T-shirt, right? I bought this in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
But if you guys want to support American Core, right on AmericanCore.org, there's a link that brings you to their merch page. And just buying merch, believe it or not, supports them and helps them out. So please, if you find it in your heart, you find it in your soul, you really want to support this great organization that supports our American heroes, go there, buy a shirt or
yeah,
10.
yeah. I mean, we'll have most of our merch too with us everywhere we go. And if you direct link is just AmericanCoreApparel.com. There is a lot of like I run the website solely just me because I'm not obviously not a wizard at that. but and I ship everything out myself. But we have gloves, hoodies, and anything that all that 100% supports what we do, because we take 15% of our sales depending on what event I'm at. So if I'm at a nonprofit event, they're letting me vend there, I take 15% of my proceeds and give it back to them, or we donate to the nonprofit itself for everything we do for all that. But
Oh, right on.
we have a lot more stuff in person, the hats and different things, because we do one-offs and very small purchases, because it's more funded by me, to where I'll buy, 40 hats and say, hey man, these are really cool. And then they're gone, like we did a bunch of them last year. And we do a set of fist gloves, which are like moto, they're grip on the inside, and they're have red, white, and blue camo, and then a black and gold color, all different styles, but they're touchscreen and they're thinner. They're not waterproof, but they're meant
They're
for
like a
just riding
mechanic's
and keeping
glove.
the sun. Yeah, they're really nice gloves. They're a high quality glove. And they, like I said, we've done a set before this, but we just do one-off sets where, like, they're kind of a collector's item at this point. Of course, I won't do the red, white, and blue next year. I'll do another color, another style, or whatever, and they're all reflective on the backside, so you can do hand signals at night and you can see with the headlight.
Nice. So I was just looking at my gloves today as I'm riding home from work, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get a hole in it. They're starting to rip and separate. So I'm like, I got to get a pair of gloves. So guess where I'm ordering my gloves from tomorrow?
Oh, there you go, buddy. Yeah, no, easy. I'll send you a code for that too, specifically for you, and that way you can put it out, and we can do like a 10% off code you can put out for whoever you want to have it.
Cool, right on. I appreciate it. I'll put it up in the community tab when I get that. But yeah, I definitely need to replace my gloves, and I'll definitely be ordering. I have two bikes, so I'll order two pairs. So I have a pair in each bike. It's just what
Man,
I do.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm obviously a salesman, but you're gonna love these gloves. Fist has always done me right, and they are high quality gloves. And like I said, they're not waterproof. They're not, it's meant for like light riding. It's not meant for
Right.
cold weather. Um,
Just like
but
mechanics gloves. I
they're
wear mechanics
amazing.
gloves.
Yeah, and they're absolutely amazing. And they're touchscreen on the thumb and forefinger for when you have your phone up and you can swipe and do whatever you want.
Or the
And
touchscreen on the
yep,
road glide,
sure does.
or
It
your
works,
street glide if you
and
have
it
a street
works
glide.
better than expected. And I'm like, man, this is it. And I've already done a batch and done two batches, and now I have three sets of gloves right now that are like just 100% through fist.
Yep. Just trying to get
Our
caught up
next,
here. Oh,
yeah,
here
our
we go.
next event. Yeah, I saw somebody had posted. I seen it. There you go. Yeah, if there's any issues with the website, let me know, because I am not the guy, but I can fix it. I'm assuming if there's any issues. But hometown, which is going to be Jelly Roll and Chili Peppers and Hardy, will be
Mhm.
there as well. And I'm hosting some veterans there, specifically a couple of the vets that I have that are already pre-designed to go there and help out. We'll do the HG Museum. We'll do the show, which is Saturday, and we'll have the V Twin Visionary show Saturday, afternoon.
Mhm.
And then there's a veterans breakfast that Harley puts on every Sunday for homecoming. So there's like a free veterans breakfast. You show up, pancakes, bacon, eggs, stuff. Like, it's right there at the activation near the museum.
Now, last year when I was out there, right in the area where V Twin Visionary was set up,
Yep.
uh, that statue of Joe Petrali,
Yeah.
I met his great nephew there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He had a meeting with corporate there that day
Okay.
about his great uncle, who is the goat Joe Petrali, who
Hmm.
owns speed records in 1937 on a knucklehead on the beach in Daytona, owns more flat track, uh, oval track, and hill climb championships than anybody.
Yeah. The only
And
guy that you're going to see is in a statue in front of Harley Davidson. So
yeah,
he's like,
and he
and
knew
I was
Walter
blown
and
away by
Arthur,
that.
the founders of Harley Davidson. He actually started racing with Indian. Um,
Yeah.
and, and the story goes, he went to a race and Indian lost his motorcycle on the way to the race.
Mhm.
Well, the Harley team,
Got to
one of
ride
the
something.
riders had a broken arm and says, "You want to ride a Harley Davidson?" And he said, "Absolutely." And ever since then, he was a Harley race 'em.
I have read that story somewhere before, and I remember that story, but it's there's a lot of I mean, it's I would call it beautiful music in between Harley and Indian because it's just rekindled, just happened the last few years with Moto America running Indian versus Harley bagger races in the US because it's like, Polaris essentially bought the name of Indian and they dropped Victory and they created,
Mhm.
the old I'd say the old school like big baggers, and then they made the Challenger, and then the Challenger out of the box, which is a really good bike. It's an amazing bike.
Yep.
And then
So
Harley
Salty
versus
Badger
Indian.
wants to know, will you be having a booth at the homecoming?
Absolutely. Yes, we'll be with V
You'll
Twin
be with the
Visionary.
Twin Visionary,
Right.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can come say hi to those guys. We have I don't know what the tent space is, but it's usually about 120 foot of V Twin Visionary tent. If you saw it last year with the 120th, I was really blown away that we even got that spot. They were like, Harley was like, put it right here. And I was like, well, this is like the beautiful water scene with and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And we set it up and it's gorgeous and it's a great spot. So yeah,
It is.
come check us out. I'll have everything for that. You can meet some of the vets that are going to be hanging out with us. Rockford Fosgate will be right there too. Of course, Harley Davidson and an HD museum. There is a lot of owners for every Harley dealership. They have a big meeting there, so you'll see a lot of owners that own Harley Davidson. And they're all from all over the country. And then the museum tickets. I know I might even give if somebody comes and mentions your name. I could I'm gonna say 90% chance I can get you a free Harley Davidson museum tour ticket.
There you go.
Because veterans get
But if
discounts
you're a high
already.
member,
But
you get them for free. And what I learned
yes.
last year, if you didn't have a VIP ticket for the museum,
Hmm.
you had to wait in that long line. That was about a
Correct.
2 hour wait just to get in.
Yeah, well, that's a fire code where there's if you've got that many people in there, they just don't want that many. It's too many.
Right.
Like
They
so,
have to
yeah.
maximum capacity of people. I understand that. But, I was less like, how do I get a VIP pass?
You're telling me I don't have one, and I know we don't have one in Retwin, and we're in the parking lot. So
Yeah.
we're in front of the face of it, and we do not have VIP passes for
Yeah.
that, but we can
You
get in.
guys
But
were
it's just
literally
more.
front and center
Hmm.
between the museum and the motor bar
Hmm.
with the overpass over you. It was awesome.
Yeah,
I,
it was
you know,
gorgeous. And last year was the 120th is, and even so we do. I mean, we do events all over the country. Like Mama Tried's a big one that we do up there.
yep,
And I had brought man, it was like I think it was 5 veterans total, um, and we all stayed in Airbnb. We all did the same, nobody had an actual bike there. We got to ride a little bit, but it was just, it's Mama tries a little bit cooler weather, but going to the events and everything, and we got to do the Flat Out Friday race. And Harley gave us all the tickets for everything. So Harley's like, "Hey man, let me set aside this, this, and this," and he just sets us up with, and it's awesome to see again that conversation happen inside the house that we're staying in of their collective thoughts and how that community. I'd say it's on a WhatsApp thing we do now because everything all my communication once you're at the event with me, you're on a WhatsApp chat with everybody. Say, hey man, I need help or I need to hear it, whatever. That WhatsApp is still going from Mama Tried last year. And it's still got
wow,
they're like memes and videos, and it's like they're all friends, and we're like, hey man, I need just generalized the community. That's what we're building.
yeah. I mean, what is it? I mean, will you guys be in Ocean City?
No, no, I have I mean, I have a family, so I have a schedule, kids and my son's baseball and different things, and so I know there's anything Moto America we do. There's very few shows that I won't be at. I will be in Sturgis. I will be at hometown. 100% be at Smoky Mountain, which is Tennessee Bike Week per se, because we do
Yep.
host veterans there at Smoky Mountain Harley with the V Twin Visionary activation and Harley Davidson activation.
Yep. People like DDK in the side chat and Tweedledee uh, live on that side of Eastern Tennessee,
Gotcha.
and they'll be there. They'll show up, which is awesome.
Yeah, I know they do. It's not under me, but V Twin sells VIP passes where you can park instead of like parking across the freeway at Smoky Mountain. You can park with us essentially at our activation behind all the stages and stuff, and you get a VIP activation next to the stage as well, which is they sell the same thing at the Smoky Mountain, but we do a separate one. It's got a leather tag that says VIP V Twin for
Nice.
anybody that comes in. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see that. Yeah, because Smoky
Yeah.
Mountain's always good, and then there's courses in Tennessee. John Jessup's place, Dream Rides, Tennessee. Dream Rides
Hmm.
is like it's like the place where I would get my bike worked on. Like if I anywhere I go, I would like that dude. Literally, no,
You're
yeah,
gonna come with me?
yeah. Well, don't come check us out, man. Like I said, you might even want to work there if you want to like volunteer some time. But this guy's got it made
Actually, I'm opening
to
my
where
own shop.
he builds some really cool bikes, and
Yep.
they do a lot of Knoxville drag racing on bikes, and I think he's at 7 seconds and 101, 705 maybe on a bike on a turbo, and it's
Yep.
pretty cool. And of course, he's wearing my gloves too because it helps. It shaves at least a half a second off your time.
Exactly. So DDK wants to know, how do I get that VIP ticket?
So vtwinvisionary.com should have some Smoky Mountain Tour VIP passes somewhere along. I can send you a link and you can post it in here if you want. I know there is a link somewhere on their website and or their Instagram. So it's vtwin visionary on Instagram. And I believe we have vtwin daily as well, which is a much bigger thing, but that's not really associated with the company. It's more of like a daily thing that you could see motorcycles and
Yep.
all the normal stuff you'd see. So vtwin visionary, and they post on it pretty much regularly, that because Smoky Mountains, he kind of, I wouldn't say started that rally, but it's like that's vtwin visionaries end game at the end of the year, and that's their big thing because it's his hometown pretty much.
Yep. I know of Dream Rides, of course. I've seen their videos and their postings and stuff like that, and I got a lot of respect for them. I'm actually I work out of my own garage at my house,
Hmm.
and I'm moving out of my garage uh, within a year to a commercial facility and going 100% full time working on bikes instead of part time.
There you go. Well, I mean, that's pretty awesome, man. That's like I said, depending on if you ever need a turbo or anything like that, man, John Jessup's got you at Tree Rods. He does all that aftermarket stuff and does a lot of different installs, and he has a lot of cool guys that work there. But it's one of those experiences too. Even for Smoky Mountain Bike Week, there's going to be he'll have vendors set up all around outside his shop, and it's fairly big parking lot, but there'll be a lot of cool things happening, and they'll have a little party and hang out and all the normal stuff you would have at a bike week. It's one of those destinations like you would have.
Yeah,
Daytona,
right on.
Sturgis is in Tennessee's, East Tennessee's getting, I mean, it's getting there pretty quickly.
Thank you, SNS. Yep, hit that like, share, subscribe button. That's the one of the best ways you could support a channel is by hitting a like and sharing this video out. It's like word of mouth. It'll help out myself, but most of all, it will help Doc out. We got to get them out there and get American Core's word out bigger than it is. And if
Yeah,
we
I
could do
mean,
that,
it's just me, like I said, it's just me word of mouth of just talking at events. So that's why if
yeah,
you met me or you know me, that's where it's at. I'm not
yep,
I'd say a marketing guy. I'm the guy that talks to veterans behind the scenes of, and I run it and own it.
yep.
So I do everything with it. So, and like I said, my wife helps me a ton, and she's director for it. I've got another small company. If you ever need a wrap in Texas, Globe and Anchor is the guy. He's obviously Marines, but they wrap vehicles, they wrap bikes. If you want to wrap, it's cheaper than a paint job. And you can put whatever logo, whatever you want on it. You can do it. It's pretty cool to see because you see. I guess you didn't see my bike in Tennessee, but my Indian is wrapped and it has an inset American core down the tank. It's underneath it, and it's really
I've seen
cool.
the
Really,
pictures of it on your Instagram page and
yeah,
the American Core Instagram
yeah.
page.
Yeah, and he wrapped that, and I went and helped him do it, and it's an absolute blast to do. Like that's a whole nother entity it's supportive of American Core.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I actually did a lot of research. There are some federal and state depending on your state, but in my state of Connecticut, there are grants available for veterans and disabled veterans
Oh wow. Okay.
for opening or starting a small business.
Oh, correct. I know there's the national VA program is called vocational rehabilitation or voc rehab as they call it. You
Right.
can apply for like self-employed. It's a
Mm-hmm.
difficult program to get into, but they will support it and they will I don't know what the, fundage is, but they you can get it. It's just a process to get a
Yeah.
hold of someone because they
So
do
I
pay
work
for that.
at a college,
Mhm.
and a lot of our faculty do a lot of grants and get awarded a lot of grants. So I went and downloaded the outline. I filled it out and I talked to the faculty. I says, "Hey, give me your eagle eye on this," and because I'm applying for a grant. And the first one I did, they looked at it, said, "It's all wrong." I said, "Can you give me any guidance?" And we actually sat down and rewrote it. Gave me a lot of pointers and things to do because getting a federal grant, it's not easy. And
No, not
so,
at all.
just 2
Yeah,
weeks ago, I put them out in the mail, and they have to
yeah.
go certified, you know, registered mail. So I did all that.
Yeah, I know as a nonprofit, it's a 2-year mark. Then you can like I'm still working in it live and all the jazz, and they want to prove that. That's when you can get say grant writers, and you start out small and you get bigger and bigger. And again, scaling is easy to where you can like I can have 10 of me in all hopes and dreams where I could have events all over the country and do and host veterans and put them into that circle environment, which is the biker community itself, to like let's say let's say like Austin had they had MotoGP, they had Fandango, which is a chopper show out in like Fredericksburg Hill Country, beautiful show,
Mhm.
awesome show. Um, and then we had Hand Built, which is in Austin as well. 3 events the same weekend. So it was impossible for me. I was there at all three barely, but it was like it was impossible for me to go and ride and do and see everybody that I needed to see or wanted to see, and people didn't need, like just generally like are good friends of mine, like because we all ride and we all hang out together. But it's definitely need some more hands in it to where it's like if there's an event that you want to host and help out and host veterans at an event or small events they have, I would love to get involved. And like I said, if it puts people in the right place to
Yep.
where they can vent to their brothers and sisters and or get into motorcycles, I'm all about it, man. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing else to it.
I mean, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to when I'm in the position to hire other mechanics or a service writer, veterans will get preferential treatment.
Yeah, again, it's like anybody that you promote. I mean, 10%, man, easy. I mean, we'll do the code. I
Yep.
can set it up here in a few, but we'll set it up to where you can able to promote those things, and that 100% funds me helping a lot of people. I mean, it truly does.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I
I
was a
I
part of the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I needed to be better at bios and people that we do help, so we can do like information of what we can and can't do and help. Like I said, I'm not the if anybody knows how to build websites and do bios and do I'd say like all the stuff after the fact because I'm very very easily to talk to and I can conform to anybody that I'm with and make them comfortable and make them a, a riding experience and or an experience that they're never going to forget, and then that's it.
Yep. So Droop says this is the Doc Squared show.
Doc Square, yeah.
But so if anybody knows how to write bios or anything like that, please reach out to Doc, not me, to Doc, and help him out. Um, I was in an organization called the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association. I'm sure
Hmm.
you heard of them.
Hmm.
And their mission is vets helping vets. Even though I'm not part of that organization anymore, I still believe in that of vets helping vets. I mean, it's our community. It's a
Exactly.
little
I'm
small community.
I'm actually a full patch member of Combat Vets Motorcycle Association.
Nice. I helped
So
set up the chapter 31-2. I did all the paperwork to
okay.
nationals and everything like that. Um,
Awesome.
I was an officer in the 31-1 chapter here in Connecticut, and after a while, I went back to the MC world.
Hmm.
Uh, Went to a diamond club, and then left the diamond club, and I'm out in good standings. It actually was not good for, believe it or not, for my PTSD, the
Hmm.
the stress of being in club life. So I walked away, and they understood, and they accepted it, and they still love me as a brother, and I love them as brothers too. I do anything for them. And I just now concentrate on working on bikes and taking care of my house and my wife and taking care of my YouTube.
Exactly. I mean, it's the community itself. I mean, a patch is a patch, and there is a brotherhood for that, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But in general, we're all human beings, and we all support each other, and we all do the right things in all hopes and dreams anyway. But like I said, I respect the clubs, and I respect everything about it. And again, I'm all over the country, so there's no way I could be, you know, in a club to where, like, because there's territories, unfortunately, and that's the only downside to the whole thing, to where, like, like, oh, you're in that area, like, be careful, this guy or that guy, and they know who you are already, and da 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 da. But that's the only downside of that, to where it's just like, man, it's like, I wish there was something nobody, no two grown men are not never agree on anything, but
No,
and
no. And I
that's
used
just
to sit
that's the
there.
unfortunate side of it.
I used to sit there at national meetings and like NCOM, and sit there and say, look, there's no reason for all of this. We all have the same love for motorcycle. We all have the same love for brotherhood. Who cares what rag we put on their back? And that they would sit there and says, well, there was just too much bloodshed over the years. I says, well, with that being said, there was a lot of bloodshed between the United States and Germany and the United States and Japan. But now Japan and the US and Germany and the US are the strongest allies. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a very valid point. I said, exactly.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
would
it's
try,
it's one of
I
those
was
things
more like
where
a peacemaker, try to bring everybody together. But unfortunately, egos take over.
absolutely. And I'm a doc, so I've always been middle ground for everything. I've saved a lot of Iraqis, and as much as the Marines are like, "Hey, what are you doing, bro? What's going on?" I'm like, "Man, I'm here for this. This is what I'm here for. Humanity, period." And I don't think anybody at the end of the day has a problem with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where I'm built that way. There's nothing I'm going to do with that.
Good
So,
night, Frog. But yeah, I agree with you like that. I mean, there is a community. I mean, when I was in Afghanistan, I made friends with one of the locals outside of our base in Taran Cow.
mhm.
Um, a great guy. All he wants to do is live his life and raise his kids and spoil his grandkids. Just like everybody else in the world. It's unfortunately that there's a select group that wants us for everybody.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, and it, I don't feel any anger towards him or matter of fact, when I came back from Iraq in '09, we had a grad student working in my department who was an Iraqi refugee, literally took asylum in the United States, who was a dentist in Iraq, and they wouldn't accept his doctorate degree or his master's degree. So he was at my university getting his master's, and he was going back to dentist school to get his dental license in the U.S.
All right.
Um, and someone said to me when I came back, has told me that he's an Iraqi refugee here in asylum. Will I have a problem with that? I'm like, no, should I?
Yeah, I mean, well, again, there's a lot of civilians that were kind of there in the process of what we did, and they were injured on the way, or
They got caught up in
man,
the
you're
in the wrong place at the wrong time.
absolutely. I mean, there's even on. So I deployed on to 9/11 to Ground Zero, and then we did humanitarian, and we received at 70 something kids on life, I'd say life flight, but it's a helo onto the Comfort, the big floating hospital. This was I guess it was 2001, after the fact, the middle of the year, next year, we did like a 4-month stint out there, did 700 surgeries, and minor injuries, broken arms, broken legs, whatever. But for kids, like 70 kids, and it like doesn't speak our language, so we had a little book to read and like to learn. But they're just in it, like they're there. Like it's kind of like somebody coming to Texas, and we have every gun in the world here, but you've got a bunch of happenstance children who are in the way, and they get picked up by the whoever, and they're like, man, like, you take care of the kids, you take care of the. And it was unfortunate, but we kept them for the entire time. That we had 70 children on that ship that we offloaded into Germany at the end, and then most of them had broken bones and stuff that were healed by the time they 4 months later, the kid, 6 weeks, they're healed. So like, hey,
Yeah.
what do we send them? Where do we send them? They're like, oh, send them back to Iraq. No, like we'll hold on to them and figure out what we're going to do with them and try to reconnect them with their families, and or because sometimes their families were with them, sometimes they weren't. They were just like
And sometimes they
seven
were
seven
orphans
8-year-old
and
kids.
they didn't even know about it,
Right.
which is sad.
Yeah, I mean, war's war, man, and it's a very unfortunate thing, but like you can only do what's in front of you. Like you can only help who's there, and that's what I could do at the time. And we did a lot of surgeries. We did a lot of healing for a lot of people, and that's what I've always done, and that's what I'm continuing to do, I guess you would say. And
And it takes a
um,
special person to do that. Thank you.
yeah, it's telling me, man. So I think that honestly, not to like open up too much of a Pandora's box in this, but the ICU and the burn unit we had was absolute worst. Like it was the worst. There's nothing you can do about the smell and the feelings and all the things and the screams and all. But anyways, like enough of that. But like that was, when I mean, obviously they banned at Geneva Convention like napalm way before that with flamethrowers, but this was just bombs and stuff that had singed and burned people with like 80-90% burns, and we're just hanging them in nets and then like trying to keep them alive. And I'm like, man, I honestly, let me go. Like I'm gone, dude. Sorry. Good night.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So once again, guys, American Core is Vets Helping Vets, which is a
Absolutely.
great organization. Please take a look at their social medias and their website. They're linked in the description. Uh, if you want to support them and you can't make a cash donation, they are a 501c3. I got that right?
Yes. Yes. Correct.
So it is a taxable donation
Yeah.
or a
You
tax
could file it.
write-off.
Yes. It's a
You
tax
can
write-off.
file
So
it
if
as a
any,
donation if you want.
Mhm.
So, and they have apparel. So even if you can't make a cash donation and you want to help out and get a cool shirt or a pair of gloves or a hoodie or something, please do so. I mean, we all spend that money on stuff all the time. Like I think this is the second time I've worn this shirt since I bought it a year ago.
Mhm. Yeah, with
So
with with merchandise too, we have disabled vets design the logos. It's pretty cool this to see, and we get them like because I do Canva and I do Adobe, and we have them get an idea, and we just create a logo. So like this logo actually has two, the wings were clipped on it, and it's got two kitchen knives that are actually the wings at the top of it. You can see it if you look at it real close, but it's designed by a disabled vet that sets us up, and we end up just like, hey man, your shirt's out there. This is I've got 150 of these, or somewhere, and
yeah,
they're all over the country. And every time they see one, you're like, oh man, I designed that, and it's
yeah,
it's just kind of a cool thing to where we don't really need. I mean, we need a logo, but it's like it's got American Core on it. We're good with that, and we put it out and say all the
yeah.
different logos we have, or like even on the gloves, it has this logo on it. That it's got some art to it somewhere along the line that a disabled vet was like, I designed that, and it's and I
That's
supported
cool.
that, and it's really cool. It's really fun to do.
It is. It is. It's awesome. Hey, we're believe it or not, we're an hour 20 minutes into this.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like to chat, man. Like I said, if you see me at a rally or an event, come talk to me and hang out, and I give tours and do walk around, even if you're like you're not into the program currently. So
Yeah, right on, right on. We spent quite a bit of time chatting in Tennessee together,
yeah,
which was awesome. And it was the end of the day when I found you. You know,
yeah.
I
I
think
said
you and the
I
wife were about ready to close up your booth for the night.
Yeah, once it, the show starts slowing down, we kind of put all our stuff away, and then not that honestly, not even people that take things. It just we just put it away for the rain and different things. But yeah,
Yeah, you don't want to get musty and dirty or anything like that
correct.
because bikers don't steal from bikers. It's just not done.
It's a fact, man. Like again, that's why we're in this community, and that's why we do these things we do. So it's absolute facts.
However, in the military, there's only one thief. Everybody else is just trying to get their stuff back.
That's so true. It's the barracks guy. It's like, hey man, I know where all your stuff's at. It's in that one guy's room.
Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to close out this video. I'm going to give you your final thoughts and final message you want to give to everybody. But when I end this, just hang out for a few minutes afterwards.
Sure.
So here's your final thoughts.
All right, guys. So final thoughts on this is I really appreciate you allowing me to kind of speak what I do and bring people out. In my next event's going to be in Brainerd, Minnesota, Moto America. Come see us, come hang out. Anything V Twin Visionary does, they support me. If I'm not there, there's going to be a veteran there. It's going to be hanging out with them because I send vets out there everywhere they go. So anything we do in the country, it's designed to bring in people and fold in people to what a community is and what should be and how we design it to be to do that exact effect to where it's a better experience. And if you're in a bad place or in a bad way, come check us out, man. Like we're looking for people that are needing something outside of that and better their family, better their fitness, better their motorcycle experience, and bring that into a fold of what it can be. Sturgis, hometown, Daytona, Laguna Seca, Tennessee Bike Week, Smoky Mountain. I'll be there. Come check us out, man. Appreciate you.
All right, everybody. I can't top that other than thank you for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. Everybody in the side chat for coming in and hanging out for as long as you did. I really appreciate you, Doc, for coming on tonight. But definitely, I'll be hitting your merchandise store up here soon. And
appreciate that, man.
Maybe we could do some other stuff in the future together. Like I said, vets helping vets. It's a great mission. And even though I'm not part of that organization anymore, I still believe in that mission and I still support that mission.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
So with that being said, from the bottom of my heart, I want you to live the best life you can. Ride often and ride hard.
Yeah.